Others were swept away by the force of the flood, dragged into lower areas where they were buried alive by the mud that consumed everything. Some, younger or already weakened, simply couldn't keep pace with the herd. Death was swift for some, slow and agonizing for others. What remained was a tangled mass of bodies compressed under the weight of tons of flesh, bone, and earth. And then, with time, silence. Decomposition gave way to fossilization. Horror turned into geological record. Millions of years later, humans would excavate that soil with brushes, spatulas, and a patience that rivaled the passage of time itself. Paleontologists revealed to the world an unprecedented discovery. More than 10,000 bones belonging to a single species in a single location. The scientists' interpretation was immediate and brutal. This wasn't the result of deaths occurring over generations. This was a single event, a sudden catastrophe that wiped out an entire herd. Confirmation came from the uniformity of the fossils, the lack of erosion on the bones, and the absence of signs of predation. Everything there screamed urgency, desperation, tragedy. Then there's the Triceratops, an animal more than 9 meters long, weighing between 6 and 12 tons, slowly walking across the plains of a lost world. Triceratops horridus, they called it. With 3 sharp horns on its face and a protective bony frill rising behind the skull, this giant herbivore was one of the last dinosaurs to inhabit the Earth before the mass extinction event approximately 66 million years ago. But among the many fossils discovered, one tells a particularly dark story marked by pain, survival, and violence. In this specific fossil, what caught paleontologists' attention wasn't just a well-preserved skull. What stood out were perforations located in vulnerable areas of the facial bone. These perforations, when analyzed, revealed a specific pattern, a curvature, a spacing between the marks, a depth compatible with only one living creature of that time, Tyrannosaurus Rex. The powerful jaws of this predator could exert a force of more than 5 tons, enough to crush bone and tear away entire chunks of flesh. But what makes this case so intriguing is that the Triceratops didn't die at the moment of the attack. Quite the opposite. The bone surrounding the perforations shows clear signs of irregular growth, a biological reaction to the body's attempt to heal, an inflamed type of bone callus, typical of infection. The Triceratops survived. This discovery changes the traditional narrative of the late Cretaceous food chain. Instead of a simple predation scene, we are faced with a more complex drama: the attack, survival, infection, continuous pain, and finally, a slow death. The skull becomes a witness not only to a brutal fight, but also to the resilience of a wounded animal struggling to carry on. The infection that settled into the perforations of the skull was severe. The disorganized bone growth indicates that the body reacted however it could. This inflammatory response is a clear sign that it lived for several weeks after the attack, perhaps even months. Every movement of the jaw, every bite of leaves or branches caused pain. And then there's the fossil known as the fighting dinosaurs, found in the heart of the Gobi Desert, one of the most inhospitable and arid regions on the planet. A moment frozen more than 70 million years ago, where life and death became intertwined in a fierce dance: Protoceratops versus Velociraptor. 2 names, two destinies sealed in a confrontation as brutal as it was intimate. On one side, Protoceratops, a medium-sized herbivore with a large bony frill and a beak as sharp as scissors. There's a fossil I keep thinking about, one that captures a precise, brutal instant. It's a Velociraptor, its leg raised, sickle-shaped claw driving into the neck of a Protoceratops. The herbivore, in its final act, bites down on the attacker's arm. What makes this find so remarkable isn't just the species involved, but the frozen moment of combat. No victor, only mutual death. The sand, over millennia, became a perfect preserver, capturing bones, limbs, teeth, claws, all in their final positions. Time, it seems, paused to record nature's raw ferocity. Then there's Pex Rex, or MMO 980. In Montana, about 66 million years ago, this Tyrannosaurus Rex met its end. A puncture wound in the neck, discovered during the analysis of its fossilized skeleton, tells a shocking story. The wound pierced vital arteries, the trachea, crucial muscles. It was as if a spear had been driven with devastating force into the animal's vital system. But the spear wasn't metal. It was bone. A horn specifically. The horn of a Triceratops. Paleontologists now imagine a close-quarters confrontation. A hunting attempt gone wrong. The predator became the prey. Fragments around the puncture suggest the impact was so deep it pierced soft tissues and likely perforated the trachea. There were no signs of healing, meaning the blow was instantly fatal, the direct cause of death. This fossil, discovered in 1997 and nicknamed after the owner of the ranch, continues to fascinate scientists and the public. It is a silent message written into every fracture, every shattered bone. And it's not just individual deaths that speak to us across time. In many parts of the world, paleontologists have unearthed dinosaur cemeteries. Skeletons tangled together, a desperate attempt to escape. Sandstorms, floods, mudslides, sudden natural forces transformed the landscape, swallowing those who lived there. These sites reveal moments of prehistoric life frozen in time, not in isolation, but in community. Entire dinosaur families, from juveniles to adults, preserved side by side. These weren't natural deaths, spread out over time. They were sudden, catastrophic events. In China's Yixian Formation, groups of Centrosaurus were buried alive by volcanic ash. In Mongolia, sandstorms engulfed dinosaurs mid-motion, their poses revealing final attempts to escape. In Madagascar, a mudslide captured a group of Majungasaurus. Even in North America, the Morrison Formation reveals Diplodocus and other sauropods grouped in patterns, suggesting entire herds were wiped out by sudden floods. These sites show us how dinosaurs lived, how they organized themselves into herds, families, and social structures, and how, even in groups, they were vulnerable to the power of nature. Consider the Pachyrhinosaurus, crushed in a stampede. In the petrified silence of time, a tragedy unfolded beneath the darkened skies of ancient North America. These bones, from a gregarious herbivore with thick bony bosses, tell a grim story. In Alberta, Canada, paleontologists found dozens of these fossils stacked atop one another, bones crushed and fractured. Imagine dozens of tons of flesh and bone, a living mass, all compressed together. That's what paleontologists saw when they looked at the fractured remains of Patrinosaurus skeletons. These weren't the marks of a simple fall or a predator attack. This was something far more chaotic: a stampede. The compression marks told a terrifying story. A herd in a frenzy, running blindly, maybe startled by a wildfire or a sudden storm. Some would fall, others stumble over them. The weight of the herd would become a deadly instrument for the weakest. Among the fossils, they found juveniles, adults, even hatchlings. It suggests a family or social unit wiped out together. Tyrannosaurus, for all its size, was a peaceful herbivore. Evidence suggests they cared for their young, maybe protecting them like modern elephants do. But no defense can withstand pure panic. Not all of them died instantly, though. Some fossils show healed fractures, meaning some individuals survived for a time, even with broken bones. Others, however, show acute, lethal trauma. The microfractures reveal the force didn't come from above, like a landslide, but from all directions, as if the bodies were crushed within a living, desperate mass. Paleontologists call it herd death, a natural catastrophe that, ironically, preserves fossils so well. Now picture a Carnotaurus, a meat-eating bull, a feared predator roaming South America over 70 million years ago. It was one of the largest and most agile theropods of its time, but even kings have weaknesses. Sometimes, a silent fossil beneath the rock tells a story that goes beyond strength, beyond ferocity. It tells of pain, of struggle, and maybe silent defeat. In one specific Carnotaurus fossil, a mystery was hidden in its jaw. A deep, unhealed fracture. The break seemed to compromise the entire side of its mouth, affecting its ability to hunt, to feed, to survive. The paleontologists recognized the severity immediately. This wasn't superficial. It was a major rupture in the lower jawbone, causing extreme pain, making even basic movements difficult. The most telling sign was the absence of any healing. When an animal survives a fracture, the bone shows it. New tissue, calluses, structural adjustments. But in this fossil, there was none of that. The fracture was raw, as if it had just happened, maybe hours before death. This led to a grim hypothesis. The Carnotaurus died shortly after the injury. If that's true, the cause of death might have been even more cruel: starvation. Unable to fully open its jaw or apply the force to kill prey, the injured Carnotaurus may have been condemned to waste away. A predator, once free and relentless, reduced to a weakened body, slowly succumbing. Imagine its suffering. Every attempt to bite sending waves of pain through its body. Each step slower, more hesitant. A predator transformed into a shadow, pushed out of territorial disputes, abandoned by prey, maybe even by its own kind. Now, picture a Tyrannosaurus Rex, but with a twist. Its bones are marked with bite marks from another Tyrannosaurus Rex. In Montana, they found a fossil of this colossal predator that once reigned supreme in the Cretaceous. Its name, Tyrant Lizard King, fit perfectly. But even kings face challenges. It's not unheard of. Today, crocodiles, sharks, even bears may practice cannibalism when they have to. So why would it have been any different 66 million years ago? Another, even more dramatic possibility exists: a fight between two Tyrannosaurus Rex individuals. Over territory, mating rights, or dominance over a kill. And the victor, at the end of the confrontation, consumed parts of their defeated rival. Wolves, for example, may kill members of rival packs and feed on them. In this scenario, Tyrannosaurus Rex isn't just a killing machine. It's an animal with complex social behaviors, where things could get extreme.